Professor Susan Coppersmith sometimes struggles to explain her work.
I did a thing where I was on a plane once, and it was back when you talk to people on planes, and they said to me, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm an interior decorator. And then I admitted I wasn't. And they're like, oh no, okay, so what do you do? And I'm a theoretical physicist. And they're like, no, you're not.
She perhaps could have convinced them by explaining how seashells managed to survive the ravages of nature. A remarkable feat when you consider that shells are predominantly made from calcium carbonate, the crumbling material better known as chalk.
The mystery there is like what happens in the structure, because you start out with this arbitrarily crappy material, really very soft and not resistant to fracture, and you sort of take little crystals of it and you put it together with a little bit of organic matter, and then it's really tough.
Thanks to her research, we now know it all comes down to the size and orientation of those crystalline components.
If you can do that with calcium carbonate, imagine what you could do with materials that started off with pretty good structural integrity. And so that's why there's actually a lot of interest in understanding why seashells are the way they are.
But unlocking nature's secrets doesn't happen overnight.
It only took 30 years.
Professor Coppersmith's unique insights into how atoms are arranged in materials are sought after the world over. She relocated to Australia from the United States in 2019 to join UNSW Sydney, primarily to assist their research into quantum mechanics. A fascinating field for a physicist, given Newton's rules of classical mechanics often don't apply.
What you do is you say, oh, okay, well, let me tell you what Newton thought. And then you say, but it's really this other thing.
The rewriting of rules has been critical in assisting scientists to detect gravitational waves and is now paving the way for quantum computers. Professor Coppersmith says moving to Australia hasn't been without its challenges, including overcoming cultural differences. But she thinks that only makes for better science.
The thing is, you have to get to the point where you're each able to understand what the other person's thinking, and then sort of that combination of the viewpoints leads to the new stuff that can be so exciting.
Professor Coppersmith says she's proud to not only have been accepted by her new home, but to be elected a Fellow of the Australian Academy of Science.